Donald Trump just released what might be the greatest campaign promise that I've ever heard. He's calling it his plan to save American education, and it's absolutely fantastic. He correctly observes that our public school system has been taken over by radical leftist maniacs, and he says that he wants to return power to the parents. He just posted this video to his Rumble account. I'll have some of the screenshots here. I'm going to read it off for you. He says, "Here's my plan to restore power to American parents. First, we will cut federal funding for any school or program that's pushing critical race theory, gender ideology, or other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto our children. We're not going to allow it to happen." Now, on top of all that, he also promised preferential funding to different states and school districts to make the following changes. First, they have to abolish tenure for grades K through 12 and replace it with some sort of a merit-based pay scale. Second, they have to drastically cut the number of school administrators. Third, adopt a parental bill of rights that includes complete curriculum transparency and school of choice, and finally, the direct election of principals by the parents. This is absolutely fantastic. He goes on to say, "Next, I will direct the Departments of Justice and Education to open civil rights investigations into any school district that has engaged in race-based discrimination. That includes discrimination against Asian Americans." He says the Marxism being preached in our schools is also totally hostile to Judeo-Christian teachings, and in many ways, it's resembling an established new religion. We can't let that happen. For this reason, my administration will aggressively pursue intentional violations to the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause of the United States Constitution. On day one, we will begin to find and remove the radical zealots and Marxists who have infiltrated the Federal Department of Education. We're not going to allow anybody to hurt our children. Absolutely fantastic. This literally might be the single best policy proposal I have ever heard from a president, including Donald Trump's 2016 run. This blows it all away. Because these disgusting tyrants that have been infiltrating our education system, they're doing it on purpose. They're preying on our kids. They want to teach these kids this radicalized sexual theory, this Marxist theory, critical race theory. They want to get these kids while they're young. And that's not a new strategy, by the way. That's an old strategy, tried and true. Adolf Hitler did it way back in the 40s whenever he had the Hitler Youth. This has been a strategy that's been used to great effect by scumbags all throughout history, where they go after the kids while they're young, while they're impressionable, while they haven't really, formulated their grasp and their perspective on reality. They get them while they're 5 years old, and they say, "Hey, little Johnny, little Susie, what do you think your pronouns are? Have you decided to be a boy or be a girl? Also, by the way, if you happen to be white, little Johnny, little Susie, if you happen to be white, you're a scumbag. You owe reparations to your black classmate for something that your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather did to his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather." But I think the most important aspect of this entire thing that's being overlooked by a lot of people is when he talks about how Marxism is becoming a new religion. He says that they're preaching this religion of Marxism, and although I totally agree, I think it's actually more so the religion of secular humanism. He'll have a better case if he goes through that approach, because the Supreme Court in past decisions has actually established that there are certain religions outside of the traditional ones, secular humanism included, and there's no doubt in my mind at all that the public school system is now literally preaching the religion of secular humanism. All of these teachings and Marxist theory and all of this, they're all encompassed within secular humanism, which is an established religion. No culture, no people can be devoid of a religion. If you get rid of God, then you have some sort of an anti-religion, something like secular humanism, but it's still a religion. It'll always take the place. Nature hates a void. So as we as a society, as a culture, we have gotten rid of God. We've taken God out of the classrooms, out of the courtrooms, out of every aspect of human life, American life, that is. We have replaced it. We've replaced that common understanding, that worldview of Christian biblical principles. We have replaced it with the religion of secular humanism. And I have a whole podcast on this, The Deep Dive with Victor Nieves. Look up separation of church and state, and then look up another one, something like proof they don't believe in separation of church and state, because they're more than okay with having secular humanism and the religious pillars of secular humanism taught in our schools. They're just not okay with Christianity. So this proposal by Trump, I think, has to be the greatest, like literally the single greatest presidential, campaign promise that I've ever heard of in my entire life. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Let me know in the description below. Until next time, keep me in your prayers. Keep your country in your prayers. God bless.